eastern side of Berrigan. Our Director of Technical Services here, Fred Exton, has been working for some time with some ideas to put before you. And the idea tonight is for you to have a look at what ideas he's got, and he's very interested to hear your response. Now, if you have ideas that you believe may be missed, by all means we want you to let the council know. The whole idea tonight is to see if we can all work together and put up a program that's going to be of benefit in this field of drainage to that area in Berrigan. So don't be backward about that. If you disagree with something, let us disagree respectfully and we'll try and sort things out. There's a fair bit to be done still. There's a lot of money involved in this. We're looking at something like $650,000. So there's a fair bit of money involved. And we want to get it right. And the way we believe we can get it right is to put up some ideas and to ask you people, do you agree with them? Or are there some addendums you'd like to add to them? So without any further ado, I'll hand over to Fred and to Matt, and they will lead the discussion on. Thank you.
All right. Thank you everybody for coming. As Mayor Bernard said, I'm Fred Exton. I'm Director of Technical Services with the Shire. Can everybody hear me? Yeah. Good. I'll yell louder if we can't. Matt Clark is my executive engineer and he's actually in charge of the design section and survey section along with asset management. So his boys have done the majority of the legwork in terms of sorting out the information we'll give you today. All the decisions certainly have not been made, as you'll see as we go through the presentation, but initially we'll go through the presentation which will sort of just let everybody know sort of how the drainage system works in the town and then the work that we've done so far. So we'll go on to the next one now. Council identified drainage issues east of Jerilderie Street. If you go back to 2012, well, we had drainage issues everywhere. But they've seen fit to put a budget of $650,000, which is in this year's budget. Probably, regardless, won't get spent before the end of this financial year, but we would certainly hope to be in a position to spend it in the following financial year. My staff have looked at the issues and some solutions and will recommend some works. Probably not tonight because I don't know that we've got enough information to actually recommend the final design. We've still got some more work to do. But we'll step through this process to where we're getting to for the recommendations. So, the Berrigan stormwater system, and I'll move up a bit closer to that, try not to stand in everybody's way. We've got a series of retention basins. So, you can see them indicated by the diamonds. The one I just pointed to is at the back of the hospital, and it's sort of 4.5 megalitres. There's another one in Cobram Street behind the water treatment works, which is about 3.5. And then we have one over in Jerilderie Street, which is up the top, which is only a small one, that's only about 1 megalitre capacity. And another one in Corcoran Street that's about 3.5. So when we get a rain, everything's got to run into them. And then to get it out of town, we've only got 2 pump stations basically that pump about 60 litres a second. So I'll go through some of those figures a bit later. But it is very much a confined system, and we have an alternative for both of those pumps to fill the dams up at the golf course, which we do when there's capacity up there. Unfortunately, their dams aren't large enough to take the water all of the time, and it has to go out the Finley Road. In the southern part of the town, we have sort of this area we're talking about here, which is all overland flow, and finishes up down in the tank paddock, and we've got an open drain going out there that might carry maybe 100 litres a second. Just click on to the next one, please. That's just a picture of, I think, the Corcoran Street retention basin. Probably a couple of pictures in there. Click through them. That's the little one up in Jerilderie Street. That's the one at the back of the water treatment works. And this is the newer one up the back of the hospital. Then there's some storage obviously up in the tank paddock already as well, so there's a couple of pictures there from the tank paddock. This drain here is the one that goes out to Finley Road, so that's one of our 2 outlets for the drainage. So it's pretty limited what you can run out there. And that's the one that goes out the other side, out the Berrigan Road, finishes up in the MIL drain. Thanks. So if you look at the water balance, if you get 50 millimetres of rain over the area of Berrigan Township, you get about 50 megalitres of water. Now, in normal circumstances, if it's dry, half of that would probably soak into the ground. The rest has either got to go into the storages and be pumped out. Now, if you're in soaked conditions and you've got to pump all of that out through our outflows, it could take 3.5 days to clear after the 2 inches of rain. So that's sort of the parameters that we've got to work with here. And we've got existing storage with the tank paddock of about 16 megalitres. So, you know, that's only about a third. So anything that won't fit in them during a storm has got to be held on the roads, in the pipes, up along the railway line, wherever it can flood to. And if you go back to 2012, you will have all experienced that firsthand if you were here. Now, east of Jerilderie Street, there's currently no underground drainage south of Moonwalk. Move along where there is drainage, it connects to Davis Street, and all of you being locals will know that Davis Street floods on a regular basis. That's the lowest point. It's about 2 feet or 600 mil lower than up at the school. So when we get an excess of water, everything connects back to there other than the Jerilderie Street, Corcoran Street system. The rest is all physically connected, and that's why we get that problem in Davis Street. The area that we're talking about has only got surface drains. As I said earlier, it all goes to the tank paddock. And there's obviously a fair bit of nuisance flooding of the table drains for some time after you get a rain. So any of you that are living around there, I'm sure, know far more about that than I do. The objectives from the money that council has put up are basically to provide underground drainage to effectively drain the area, help reduce the existing flooding in Davis Street, and provide an outfall for future curb and gutter works to the east of Jerilderie Street. Now, obviously, to achieve the best outcome for the available budget that we've got, and that's proving to be quite a challenge. So we've looked seriously at 2 options. The first is the tank paddock option, and that would require sort of reshaping the tank paddock to provide an additional 10 megalitres of storage and installation of a pump station at Osborne Street. Just pull that plan up, Matt. So yeah, that basically is putting in a system of underground pipe work where the big lines are. That's just covered by a road main going down out into the tank paddock with a pump station sort of around here somewhere. So that's the first option we looked at. And the second option is using the old wreck ground, and again providing an additional 10 megalitres of storage with the pump station sort of opposite the intersection of Horsfall Street on Denison Street. And again, you can see the pipe network's not that different. Only goes down as far as 4th Street, I think. But effectively that all drains back to the pump station up where the rec ground is, or the old cricket ground. So they're basically the two options that we've looked at. Next, Matt, please. Relative costs, well, I'm having a hell of a battle trying to get either of them within the $650,000. Our current estimates are about $800,000 if we take the old rec option, and about $850,000 if we take the tank paddock option. And then obviously we need now to look at what options we have for reducing costs, and one is to shorten the length of the line, so we reduce the area that we're providing the underground drainage to until we've got additional funds to extend it. And the second one is to reduce our pipe sizes, which will then take longer for the water to drain away, but it will still drain away. So they're the things that I need to put back to council in terms of how we actually balance the budget once we decide which option we're going for. As you can see from the costings, there's not enough difference in the costings of the two options to give us a clear-cut idea of which way we want to go. And that's the main reason why I'm talking to you people here today, to see what the community think is the best option. I've had a few people say, well, we don't want a water hole opposite the school and we don't want a swamp. Well, I've just got a few photos of some of the retention basins we've built so far. This one's on the road into Berrigan, opposite the new subdivision just past Tricky Kids. As you can see, it doesn't hold water and it's not a bog hole. This one is in need of a mow, but it's interesting, we just in recent months gave an award to the properties or people that live in the properties around this one, which is up in Waruna Street in Berrigan, because they have actually regrassed that whole area and planted trees, and they look after it very well. And I'm sure the mower will be over this weekend. Berrigan Botanical Gardens is again one of our stormwater retention basins, and we have a very active committee of management there that do a wonderful job and have developed it into probably one of the best gardens in the region. That one's in Tokemall. That's one that we've only just refurbished. That was just a mud hole with some scrappy trees in it. It's been reshaped and a watering system put in there. So that's sort of up the back of which court? Riley Court, that's the one. And you've probably all been to Finley and seen Railway Park, and it's not a very good photograph of it, and the cooch they've got in's all gone a bit brown. But again, Railway Park is one of our stormwater retention basins. This is the work that we're just completing on what was the Loco Dam, which used to be full of water. That now is also dry and we're in the process of grassing it. No proposals at this stage to put a watering system in, but that may happen in the future. And this one's just a bit of an idea that if we did do something on the wreck, we'll maybe it might be useful to be able to create a mound for other public purposes. So, as I said, I don't have any particular preference for either building something on the old rec ground or remodelling something on the tank paddock. But we do need to provide another 10 megalitres of storage somewhere. I don't believe the difference in the costings by the time we finish is going to be that significant. So I guess I'll now throw the floor open to questions and seek opinions from you folks.